Well, we moved it up 4 hours. It's actually a pretty nice day at Nationals Park right now. Even the traffic's moving. So are some folks coming down Capitol Street into the ballpark. Nats looking for a sweep. Seattle has lost 5 in a row. They've scored 1 run in each of those games. And the Nats are trying to make it 4 straight against the Seattle Ball Club. And does Gio get in line behind Strasburg, Ross, and Roark from what we've seen from our starters the last 3 days?
Well, he's got a good chance. He pitched better last time out. The Mariners are hitting .215 against lefties this year. But when you look at what the starting rotation has done lately, they've been dealing. Steven Strasburg Sunday versus the Braves, 11 strikeouts, 1 walk. His command was unbelievable. His fastball was overpowering. Joe Ross out of nowhere with 8 innings against the Mariners on Tuesday. Tanner Roark last night, very good. So last 3 starts, 25 strikeouts, 1 walk, 3-0 with a 2.22. These guys have been dealing. So Gio Gonzalez looking to take over and do what those guys did here today against the Mariners.
Yeah, Gio's up around the top of the National League in ERA. Home, he's even better with a 1.41. And so Gio looks to maybe cut down on those walks, let his defense and let his offense and that guy at the hot corner take care of things. Anthony Rendon in the series, 4 for 8, a double, 3 homers. He's driven in 8, and he's scored 4 more times. Not sure what else he can do for our ball club, but this is a lineup in high gear right now. And number 6 getting it done at the hot corner. Baseball on Masson, brought to you by PNC Bank for the Achiever in You. And by the Lexus RX, featuring a pre-collision system with pedestrian detection. Standard. Brisk business in the team store. A moment ago, the sun was out, and this call to move this game up to 12:05 is looking like a genius move by the Nationals for now. Not bad at all here at the yard. Mariners are hitting .248, 6th in the American League and 7th in runs. Nelson Cruz, interleague play, great production over the last few years. He's 0 for 3 in this series. In the American League, he's up there in home runs. He's up there tied for first in runs batted in And Nelson Cruz doing his usual thing, and now he's got Robbie Cano hitting in front of him, making this Seattle lineup a whole lot more dangerous. Gio has never pitched against the Mariners as a Nat. Career 6-2, 12 games, 10 starts.
Yeah, 10th start for Gio. 3-1 record. Could be even better. Had a lead a few times when he left. Allowed 4 earned runs on 9 hits over 5 2/3 last start. Nats lost to the Braves 7-4 in that one. That was on May 19th. Anthony Rendon going to come in, loosen up the left-hander. Fastball averaging 90 miles an hour this year. And here's the defense today. 12 o'clock start behind Gio. Wake up, everybody. Worth, Taylor, Harper, the outfield. Turner, Rendon, left side. Murphy, Zimmerman, right side. And Jose Lobaton behind the plate. Matt Wieters with the day off.
Here's Gene Segura. Nats kept him off base last night. He went 0 for 4. Gio, we're underway at 12:06. Ball 1 away. Segura, though, still 4th in the American League at .331. 253rd career start for the Nats lefty. 1-1. Breaking ball, foul. Manny Acta fails to make the play. Come on. Adam Hamari, junior member of this crew, has the plate. The crew chief, Bill Miller, over at first. Kerwin Danley, second base. Todd Titchener at third. One-two. Target's in. Fastball's up. Lobaton holds it for a while. That'll move him back and stand him up, and the count's full. Gio, 28 walks in 57 innings, 46 strikeouts.
If I'm Gio, I'm locking in on the white mask more than the glove. Look at that.
Good call, but he misses.
But the white mask might be a little bit high. And I wonder if they talk about if that's a distraction to the pitcher. Obviously it wouldn't be, or Jose Lobaton wouldn't be wearing it back there, but just looking at it from the center field camera. You remember when Lance Parrish was one of the first guys for the Tigers to have the fluorescent on his glove as a catcher? That used to be all the rage in the 80s, early 90s.
Then came Eddie Perez of the Braves with his colorful fingernails for Greg Maddux, who had a hard time seeing signals.
Fluorescent orange on the glove, I remember that. But right now I'm just looking at Lobaton's mask.
So Gio misses to Guillermo Heredia. Rendon even with a bag at third. Turner and Murphy halfway for the defense that has turned the third most double plays in the National League. Good breaking ball there. Counts even 1-1.
Well, when you look at the Mariners' numbers against lefties this year, they're staggering. They're hitting .215 as a ball club overall, so that means starters and relievers, and .222 against left-handed starters on the year. Just 5 home runs, 34 RBI total.
Five out of 9 Segura stealing bases. Seattle third in the league with 31. Nats have gotten their running game going lately with Trey Turner. More on that when the Nationals come up. And a 1-1 here. Pretty good take. Looked like Heredia was going to go at it. Robinson Cano. We saw the real Cano last night. Hit the ball hard 4 times and had 3 hits. Three and 1. You can't walk 2 men in front of Cano and Cruz.
I don't think Gio loved the call. Jose Lobaton tried to frame it up, and so far Adam, nicknamed Cal Hamari, is not buying the frame job.
Home run swing by Heredia, who's hit a couple. Foul tip.
I mean, it's all Gio had to do is look at what Joe Ross and Tanner Roark did in the first 2 games of this series. Pound the strike zone. Be aggressive. Go after these guys. Trying to do it. They'll lock it in.
Segura. Decent lead. He's running, and the ball popped out of play. Game notes. 7 of their last 8 here at home. Overall record 14-7. It's kind of a dubious way to tie a major league record, scoring 1 run in 5 straight games, but they've done it. And so look how much better the Nats are against lefties than the Seattle offense. 3-2. Segura, a shorter lead. Still going. Not a great jump. A swing and a miss could be a double play here. Mike Maddox staring down his starter.
8th pitch coming.
Swing and a miss. Throw. If Lobaton gets it there on a fly, they would have had him, and evidently Murphy got the tag on him anyway. Kerwin Danley with the out call as Segura ends up clinging to the bag, and it looks like a strike him out, throw him out. Segura very slow in leaving the bag, by the way.
Well, he had to make sure Gio Gonzalez was going home. Scott Service is saying hold on, and the way everybody reacted, I want to see this. And the telling tale was Kerwin Danley looking around the corner, watch this, to make the call. Did he have a good look at everything, or did Murphy block him off? Looks like we're playing baseball. Nice pick, nice tag, nice throw. Nice double play.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't make myself clear. He was slow in leaving the second base bag, hoping for some help from the dugout. So now, bases empty, 2 outs, the way you like to face Cano. Jose Lobaton nailing his 3rd runner of the year, by the way. Robbie Cano, 2 walks against Gio, 4 strikeouts. And I'll give you the matchup number when the at-bat is complete.
There's almost some interference there. There's almost some contact between Jose Lobaton and Heredia. Small zone early.
Cano, 356 his last 23 games after those 3 hits he collected last night. That's a perfect pitch, outside edge, 2-1.
Two and three, exact same pitch. Maybe one a better frame job by Jose Lobaton.
There are so many happy retired umpires right now when they must watch baseball on TV, because you know, over the years you just kind of accepted each guy had his own strike zone. We'd think pitches were close to the one before, but we never had proof positive until all this technology came in. Now it's 3-1 to Cano.
If they had a little broadcast statcast in the corner of the mistakes I made throughout the course of 9 innings, good Lord. So yeah, they're doing the best they can.
One of the toughest jobs in all of sport. Maybe home plate umpire is the toughest in any sport. 3-2. Cano drives it to left. Worth back to his right. And a fine running catch by Jason Worth, who continues to play good outfield. The strikeout throwout double play for Gio. 77 best batting average in baseball, 261 runs the most, 70 homers the most, and they're in the top 6 in steals right now. And the streaky Anthony Rendon is on another one of his crazy streaks. 4 for 8, 3 homers, 8 RBIs in this series. His RBI total is up to 31, which barely leaves him out of the top 10 in the National League. This is Ariel Miranda, 28 years of age, from Havana, and he will be making his 10th start.
A fastball slider change split is the out pitch. Fastball average is 92. No decision last start against the White Sox on the 19th at Safeco Field. Tied a career high with 7 innings, struck out a career high 9 White Sox through 100 pitches, 68 for strikes.
Trey Turner, 3 hits, 2 RBIs, 2 runs, 2 steals in the series. Seager has to play shallow at third.
Yeah, Miranda, good slider for his secondary pitch. And the fastball not afraid to come into lefties. Here's a slider.
Two one. Trey off to the right side for Robbie Cano. Ho hum.
That was like Devon White catching the ball in center field. There's your Mariners defense. Look at it. I don't feel like saying it. No, Zunino behind the plate again today. Valencia at first base. And Guillermo Heredia in center field. Robinson Cano threw me for a loop on this catch right here. Watch this. Yep, got it. No problem.
Yeah, if he could just relax out there, he'd be such a better ball player.
And he's even laughing about it.
Yeah, but that's Cano. You know, some people, as you said last night, they don't think he's out there working hard. That's the way he plays. Certain parts of the game come easy to him. He's relaxed in the field like he is in the batter's box.
Nonchalant is okay as long as you're good.
Jason Worth pretty good. 333 his last 14 games. On base 3 times in this series.
Good take.
Homer, 4th inning Tuesday night, a 2-run shot in the middle of that huge 8-run frame for the Nats and put that game away. Two-0. Fastball in. Only one National, Adam Lind, has ever faced Miranda.
Hitter-friendly zone today.
3-0. Is he pumping? Jason Worth, with that great knowledge of the strike zone, becomes the Nationals' first runner on his 23rd walk.
And Miranda just 16 walks on the year, so he throws strikes.
So home and road numbers, it's not a good split for him. Trying to salvage one for his ball club on the road. So 236, 665. And as Jeep tells us, that's the 5th highest split, or increase, if you will, from home to road ERA in baseball.
Well, he's pitched at Houston, launching pad, at Cleveland, at Kemby, launching pad, at Philadelphia, and at Toronto. All hitters' ballparks.
Good point by you.
At Oakland, well, that's if it was a day game in Oakland, that's a hitter-friendly park too.
Yeah. We'll find out next week. Why not?
Why not? If it's fair, it's a double. Kyle Seager's playing shortstop. Look where he's at. He just tried to push that hard down there, and if it was a little bit more to the right, it's a base hit. Did he hit his hand on that? Did he pinch his hand on contact? Sometimes you get your finger in there, it'll pinch up against the bat, leave a mark.
Breaking ball gets Bryce up in the zone, looking, 2 outs.
Check out the bunt again. He did hit his finger. On the Expo, you can see, watch his top hand and watch the finger move. Right there, his index finger, maybe in his middle finger on his left hand, bunted the ball more than the bat did. Is he okay?
So the inning is up to Ryan Zimmerman. First pitch swinging down to third for Kyle Seager. He'll go the short way, and the Nats are done. So each pitcher walks a batter, gets a scoreless first inning.
He hasn't taken the field yet here in the top of the second. Maybe they're looking for some tape to tape it up real quick before he runs out there. I don't think he's coming out of this one. They're just going to put something on it, wrap it up, put the glove on, and head on out there.
Yeah, so Gio will take a moment here.
Yeah, right there. Index finger pinched up against the bat. Been there, done it. Doesn't feel good. That was between pitches before he got back in the box.
So here we go, top of the second. Gio, 20 pitches, first inning, 10 strikes. Walk, a strikeout, the double play, and then the line drive to left. And here's Nelson Cruz. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention Robinson Cano now 0 for 10 career against Gio Gonzalez.
See, you're not jinxing things.
Yeah. Cruz similar numbers, but he has a hit, so I'll tell you 1 for 13. We never want to bust up an offer for a pitcher.
No. But you've changed. You used to do that a lot. Like 2011. There's a sale of Memorial Day savings, 50% off. There's free delivery and 0 interest.
Yeah. He might find a free baseball in his newspaper here if he doesn't pay attention. 3-1. And they say nobody reads the newspaper anymore.
That might be my favorite fan shot of the year.
Better than a poncho, huh?
Yeah, that was good.
3-1, swing and a tip. Looked like ball 4. Cruz was extending to take a hack.
It's an early game. People haven't read the paper and had their coffee yet. It's almost like the 4th of July game, a noon start. When do we ever start at noon?
3-2. Off speed. Gio's best pitch of the game right there. Second strikeout. 1 out, second inning.
So first pitch curveball for a strike. Strike 3, a changeup. Everything away to CRUZ in the sequence. And a beautiful changeup. He thought it was a fastball way out in front for strike 3. Nicely done. Good arm speed, good release point, down the zone, perfect.
Nissan on the pitch cast. By the way, don't show up at noon on the 4th. First pitch 11:05.
Yeah, I'll be late. It's the game on the 5th that always I have trouble getting to.
Here's Kyle Seager.
11. Got it.
Yeah, Ryan Zimmerman, his number. I get it. Our crew gets here really early for day games, so they are way ahead of us mentally in the first couple of innings until we catch up.
They were off that shot for 20 seconds before we got it.
Why are they showing Ryan Zimmerman? Oh, yeah. 2-0 to Seager, who's 3 for 7 in the series. He's going to sky one out to right center, not deep. Michael A. Taylor. Gio now 4 in a row since that leadoff walk in the first.
All right, take a staycation with the Nats this Memorial Day weekend. From now until Friday, save 25% on tickets for upcoming home games against the Padres. Visit nationals.com/staycation and use code STAYCATION. I think teams used to do that when the Expos came into town. 25% off. Here come the Expos.
Here's Danny Valencia. Okay, they showed Trey Turner because 7 o'clock on that game. I mean, we are so overmatched right now.
And that's different from when. Good pitch.
Gets the fastball call up in the zone, 1-2.
Rosie a little bit to snatch that one back down the zone. Check this out. Whoop. Turn that thumb. Make it look like a strike.
I was right in front of the white mask. 1-2, target in. A little higher.
Gio working quick. He saw those game times in game 1 and 2 of the series. He said, those guys are working fast. I'm going to work fast too.
That would be a good thing to become contagious. Brings that breaking ball back around. Nice second hop for Trey Turner. And Gio gets a 1-2-3 with his first ground ball of the game. Murphy, Rendon, Taylor coming up.
Park probably shouldn't come as a big surprise for a team that leads the major leagues in runs scored, but the Nationals are dominating thus far this season. when it comes to at-bats with runners on base. They're first in the major leagues in those situations. And not only are they first, they're 27 points better than the next best team with their .310 average. First in OPS at 928, 124 points better than the next best team. Dusty Baker saying earlier today, the key in those spots, attack and get a good pitch to hit. He noted that he felt like his team struggled with runners on last season, saying he feels like that was the club's downfall, actually. And also said that despite the high numbers in those situations this year, guys, he wants more. He said, let's strive for perfection. Even if we know perfection isn't possible, I want some more.
Well, when you're talking hitting, you're talking Nats, and when you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. Thanks, Dan, with our Coons.com sideline report.
This year with runners in scoring position, men on, hits happen.
Murphy in the series, 2 for 8. Rendon, 4 for 8. Good pitch, outside edge by Miranda. 13 pitches, 7 strikes, first inning. Despite walking Jason Worth with 1 out. Murph discussing that call with Adam Hamari.
Cal.
2-1. Counts even. No dispute with that one. Off speed, and the pitcher cuts it off.
Anthony Rendon's series has been spectacular. The high far one in game 1 through the rain, then he went straightaway center, so 2 home runs the first night against the Mariners. And then last night another tater. So Tony 4 bags in this series. Home runs number 6, 7, and 8.
RBI total in this series going from 23 up to 31. So the Nationals, a feeling out process with this lefty as they see him first time around. And this one skied on the infield right side. Zunino and Valencia, and the catcher will come back and grab that ball, which was still foul. 2 outs.
The center fielder, number 3,
Michael A. Taylor getting to play every day. The Nats, and this young guy reaping the benefits of that. 3 for 8 in the series. He's hit safely 10 of his last 11 games to the tune of 349.
He's swinging.
I was kidding him last night. I saw him after the game and I said, were you aware that your first 7 at bats in the series you saw 11 pitches? He said, I had no idea.
Oh, I like
but
it.
I know I'm being aggressive, and I told him we like it. Keep it up. Swung at the first 3 pitches he saw last night in his first 3 ABs. 1 ball, 1 strike as he cuts at a fastball. .404 at home. Wow. Not a bad pitch, just missed, and Miranda took an extended look in. 2 balls, 1 strike. Gio off to a good start. A 1-2-3 second. Pulled the string on him with 83. Great change.
This guy got a little Felipe Rivero in his delivery. Same body type. Although Felipe filled out a little bit since the last time we saw him here in Pittsburgh.
Taylor waiting for that off-speed pitch. Hits it high and far to center. Under it, Heredia for the 3rd out. So each pitcher a 1-2-3 second. No score.
What you do? I can only see blue seats. I don't know about you guys. No score as we go to the top of the third. K Street, the Nationals' new superfan section, returns Friday when the Nats face the Padres. For just $39, you can receive a field-level ticket, a K card, and exclusive T-shirt. For details, visit nationals.com/K Street.
Top of the third, Taylor Motter, Mike Zunino, the catcher, and then Ariel Miranda. Motter originally drafted by Tampa Bay 6 years ago, 17th rounder out of Coastal Carolina. And Gio misses away 2-0.
I should set up a camera to see who's walking down Half Street at 4 o'clock today.
Oh boy.
I mean, just for, you know, the fun of it.
We'll call that, I know before the game in Atlanta they have Oblivious Cam.
Yeah.
We could call it that today.
Getting off the Metro in the red shirts at 4.
4-pitch walk to the leadoff guy, third inning. Speaking of Atlanta, I noticed they gave the Pittsburgh Pirates a 12-10 getaway game today. And the Pirates have a run on the board. I'll be interested to see the attendance figure from that game. They do give the Nats day games on Sunday. Here's the number 8 man, Mike Zunino.
I just never forget that 11:30 or midnight start there. They had one of those the other night. They waited around 3 hours, restarted the game, and they went extra.
What a glorious day it is right now here. One on one. Nats have Zunino bunched a bit toward the gap in left center. Beautiful day here. 65 at game time. Mariners will get a, even though they'll be in rush hour traffic going to Dulles, they'll get a head start to Boston. 1-1, slap down to Rendon, backhand, right on target to Murphy. And that makes it an outstanding 5-4-3 around the horn double play.
That, folks, is a big league double play. They don't turn those in A-ball. They don't turn those in Double-A, and I don't even think they turn them in Triple-A. Look at Anthony Rendon. That was a hot smash to the backhand, and the blind sidearm feed right on the money to Daniel Murphy. This is the definition of a big league double play. Wow.
Miranda career 0 for 2. Anthony Rendon outstanding. Remember that play, the dive he made on CRUZ Tuesday night on a drive headed to left field. 1 ball, 1 strike. Playing some ball. Late. 1-2. Gio will have days like this where he walks a couple of guys, but at times he can be unhittable. We go bottom 3, Lobaton, Gio, and Turner coming up. Moments, and they haven't gone well for the Mariners in this ballpark. Wilson Ramos, June 11, 2011. See you later. The Nats get 5 in the 9th and win it 6-5. 2 days later, a day game. Lance Nix sends in Danny Espinosa, walk-off sac fly, and the Nats swept Seattle like they have every time they played.
There's the Beast, Tyler Clippard, Alex Cora. It's my favorite part of these. Jim Riggleman, who would retire after the game, I feel like.
Yeah, he didn't get on the plane to Chicago to play the White Sox after that game, and you saw John McLaren briefly. He went up there and led the Nats to a 2 out of 3 at Chicago before we went to Anaheim and introduced Davey Johnson as manager the following Monday.
She's ready, call her up.
Bottom of the 3rd. Who's going to get the first base hit? Lobaton right-handed, 2 for 11. Then Gio, and then Turner against Ariel Miranda, who's thrown 25 pitches, 15 strikes.
You know, Jim Riggleman still texts me every now and then. Stays in touch. He's a great guy. Probably made a bad decision. He'd admit that to you, but doesn't make him a bad person.
Well, he told some of us in spring training that he was not happy with his contract, and I'm like, there's no way if this team gets above 500, he's going to do what he said, and he did.
I almost did that the other night when the telestrator wasn't working, but I figured now.
Well, you can get in line with any analyst in the league on that piece of apparatus. When it works, it's a beautiful thing.
It is.
0-2 to Lobe. Fastball just misses. Good pitch by Miranda. It's interesting, you know, Jim Riggleman, old school guy, protege of Whitey Herzog for many years in that organization. Then we went old school with Davey Johnson, then kind of new school with Matt Williams. Then you come to Dusty, and he's got it all covered.
Yep.
That guy could manage in any decade.
Old school, new school.
Yeah.
No school.
And Lobaton on a changeup, unable to get to it. Second strikeout by Miranda. He faces Gio. When you have insight, you know how to handle your finances with confidence. Brought to you by PNC Bank. For the achiever and you. Well, if Clint Robinson could switch hit, he'd probably be in the big leagues right now with Chris Izzy hurt. But the left-handed hitter finally warming it up at Syracuse. I'm sure the weather's more conducive to hitting with that ball club and around the league right now. And well, way to go, Clint. We hope that if he doesn't make it back with the Nationals, that some major league team that needs a really good guy and a really good left-handed bat will grab hold of him and bring him back to the big leagues where he belongs.
You can hit.
Guys will tell you it's not easy the first 4 to 6 weeks in Syracuse playing half your games up there.
I'll tell you what, this Miranda's got a lot of late life on his fastball. I'm sure he has a high spin rate because that thing is jumping.
0-2 to Gio. Swing and a miss. First time around the order. The Nats go 0 for 8. A walk to Worth and 3 strikeouts.
All right, this is a good young arm. And coming off a career high 9 strikeouts, got it going on here today. It says 94-95, but just by the looks of it from way up here, seems to be playing harder than that.
Yeah, several years in Cuba. Orioles signed him as a free agent 2 years ago, almost to the day, May 27th. Then the Mariners got him in a trade deadline deal last July for Wade Miley. That ball hammered by Turner, but going foul.
Spin rate 2,400 on the Miranda fastball. Average big league fastball right over 2,200. Four seamers 2,264. So yeah, he's got some good late life.
Turner pop up to second first time up.
Max Scherzer 25.50 on average with his four-seam fastball.
Check that out tomorrow night. Luis Perdomo for the Padres tomorrow. 1-2. And Turner hanging with the off speed. Padres will finish up a series tonight in New York and then here for 3.
And that's got some jump to it. For those of you who don't know, a little review. The high spin rate helps the ball kind of defy gravity for slightly longer than a pitch with low spin rate. So it's coming downhill, right, from the mound to home plate. But if you have that high spin rate, it gives it that rising fastball effect, or that air quotes late life. Make all the difference in the world whether it misses a barrel or not.
Well, you know, over the years, we heard all these baseball terms. You talk about late life, ball jumps at you, got another gear. Now we have scientific proof of that.
Yeah, quantify it with numbers.
Great stuff. Turner reaches, and it's under the glove of Valencia. He's going to keep on running here. He's going to go to second right in front of Nelson Cruz. So whether it's a hit or not, the Nats have a runner in scoring position.
You know what I think is a good tool for scorekeepers? Hit speed. When you're looking to decide whether a ball's a hit or an error, check out the hit speed. And if it's over 100, that's maybe not a routine play if a guy's going to his left or his right. That's, to me, a routine play and should have been made. And, you know, I think everything's a hit.
Yeah. Well, you bring up an interesting point, because the ball Bryce Harper hit in Atlanta is evidently still being discussed. And if that's the case, Bryce would get another extra base hit, 2 more RBIs. And that, of course, would have an effect on the league lead in runs batted in. So that one he hit that got by Jace Peterson in Atlanta still being discussed. They already eliminated an error from the Pittsburgh series on Trey Turner, as we told you last night. So sometimes these things can take a while.
They go to court in front of a 12-man jury.
Then there's appeals.
There's lawyers and attorneys and key witnesses, broadcasters, scorekeepers.
Then it goes to the Ninth Circuit and makes its way to D.C. eventually.
Sometimes they vote not guilty by reason of insanity.
1-0. I think all of us would fall under that category. Worth the base on balls first time. Big gap right center. Jason kind of walking away from that pitch and actually walking onto fair territory, and very surprised by the strike call. He's probably got his head down, saying a few things to Adam Hamari. Mercedes-Benz will pitch cast it.
I thought it was a pretty good pitch. Really good frame job by Zunino to get the call, but the changeup in isn't thrown enough, in my opinion.
Worth a rocket to left. It's going to stay up and go in the glove of Taylor Motter. Best hit ball of the day for the Nats, who've stranded 2 runners in a scoreless 3 innings. By the all-wheel drive RAV4 Toyota. What drives you? Visit buyatoyota.com for great deals. Wasn't supposed to rain till later.
Is it raining? What is that?
No, that's the fountains over by
right.
the boat dock, Potomac Street. See, you come in from center field all the time, you never get to see those things. What a day.
It's true. It's the most underrated part of this ballpark is the front of the stadium that's rarely used. Beautiful.
Some cool statues and monuments out there back at Capitol and Potomac.
And the soccer stadium is finished. You might use the front of the ballpark a little more.
A lot of folks take the water taxi up from Old Town to what's almost like the right field corner here. Here's Gene Segura, walk to lead off the game. Erased on the strikeout throwout double play, and Gio behind him again. His toughest matchup, Segura, 7 for 13 career against our lefty. Small crowd with the 12:05 start. A great day. 2-1. That's a beauty of a curveball. Segura got Rendon on the move, and then the ball came bending around his bat. Nissan tracks it.
But he get fooled on a bunt too, and he was out in front. You know, he squared around, he showed, he started to kind of lean into the pitch to lay it down, and it wasn't there yet, so he had to pull back.
2-2. Gio 15 pitches per his first 3 innings on average. Target in. Swing and a miss on a pitch to the other side of the plate. Strikeout number 4 out of 10 batters he's faced.
Power fastball up in the zone. Segura in 2-strike mode with a short compact swing, just trying to pepper it into play. See him roll the wrist with an abbreviated swing. Couldn't catch up to the high Gio fastball.
There's Heredia, who struck out into that double play first time. We saw last night this guy's got great speed, and that's why Rendon's even with the bag at third. Had singles his first 2 times up. He busted out of an 0 for 11. And some of the Mariners looking a little impatient against Gio right now.
I always thought a quick turnaround game was hard to concentrate as a player.
A bunt in the air. Here comes Zimmerman. Could catch it waist high. 2 outs. Ryan got a good jump on that ball.
I need some launch angle and exit velocity on that bunt. Yoga in the outfield returns Sunday after Nats Padres game, 1:35 start. You know the drill. Visit nationals.com/special ticket. Are we there yet?
We've got 3 more days to yoga.
There's Paul Molitor. He had nothing to do today, so he decided to put a beer hat on and come to the game.
So you know we're playing Seattle?
That guy could hit. Short, compact swing.
The Seattle Pilots did become the Milwaukee Brewers, by the way, so maybe there's the connection.
They're telling me 36 on the exit velocity in the bunt.
Ryan ran in faster than that. Here's Cano, who hit a laser to left. Caught by Jason Worth on the run his first time. Low and away. Cano 3 for 8 in the series. Robinson Cano, after this season, is signed for 6 more years with Seattle. So this is his 4th season. 10-year deal to leave the Yankees after the 13th season when he drove in 107 runs. In there. 1-2. Gio throwing the ball well.
That was down. Cano didn't like it. Jose Lobaton framed the top of the baseball, pulled it in. And Adam Hamari bought it. Watch this. That's where it crosses. Jose's behind the plate, and he pulled it up.
Now the target away.
So Cano 34 will be 35 in October. But the way he plays, I feel like he's going to still be good at 40.
Yeah. 2 long contracts in the American League West. Robinson Cano and Albert Pujols. 1-2 with 2 outs. Nats will play the Angels home and home this season. We'll see that wonderful ballpark in Oakland on our next trip. Look at the doubles leader since the Nats came to D.C. Robinson Cano more than anybody, even Cabrera and Big Papi. Two balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss on a big curveball.
Same seats?
Gio, 5 strikeouts. You never know. So far unhittable. Here comes Bryce. No score. % or more on car insurance. Geico.com. See how much you could save. It's a runaway. It's a blowout. Not even close. Abe, his league leading 9th of the year. George has 7. Tall Tom has 5, and Teddy, hopefully a second half guy, still shut out.
I want what Abe's taking. No way he's that frisky this early. What's up, ladies? Beautiful day for a ball game. Did you see the baby cry with the Fanatic last night? That was awesome.
Saw the Fanatic cry one day when Jason Worth stole the keys to his 4-wheeler.
Cutest kid ever, and he just lost it.
Bryce didn't like the call on the first one from Ariel Miranda.
Looked like it might have been up.
Got Bryce looking on an off-speed pitch right after Harper had hurt his finger on a bunt attempt.
StatCast being brought to you by Amazon Web Services. Check out The Shift.
Lefty, 0-2 pitch. Bryce Harper into this game, 3rd best in the National League, .424 against left-handed pitching. Matt Wieters at .500, the switch hitter, and of course the next guy would be right-handed Nolan Arenado. Harper, the best lefty in the league against southpaws. He's going to drive one to left for Taylor Motter. Outs keep on coming for both of these lefties. Just into the 1 o'clock hour with 1 out in the 4th inning. Things moving quickly. BCFP DK on Masson. That's playing their 46th game of the year.
See, Abe was going a little too fast. This kid's about how I feel right now. He is out. I tell you, both lefties similar in the sense that they're so sporadic. it's tough to have a game plan as a hitter today, because you can sit on a pitch in a zone, but you might go 3 at-bats before you get a pitch in your zone. So what do? You get impatient.
You hammer one like Zimmerman does to center, and then Guillermo Heredia back to cover it. 2 down.
Okay, I'm looking for fastball middle away today. I'm going to drive it to right center. And then you have 2 lefties that are kind of buckshot. They don't know where it's going. They both have really good stuff. So how do you have a game plan? You don't. Sometimes against guys like this, it's just see ball, hit ball. And you dumb it down a little bit and just look for a strike. Maybe not in a zone.
Murphy. Ball speared by the pitcher first time. A one-hopper that was heading out towards short.
That's why guys that have good command, you can have a game plan as a hitter and stick to it. Guys that don't, it's tough.
Modified shift here. A lot of room third baseline. Murphy 13 doubles on the year, 23 extra base hits. And third in the league with 56 hits. Target outer half, and Murphy goes up to kind of tomahawk that ball foul left side.
You got a lot of people on each coast in the same seats right now. Maybe same beds in Seattle. 9 o'clock start.
One and two. Off speed. Neither team with a hit through 4. Strikeout number 4 for Miranda.
If you know what I mean. Both pitchers have it going on. But there's been a few double plays that have helped Gio. A little strike him out, throw him out piece. Jose Lobaton getting rid of it quick. Daniel Murphy with a nice pick. And this is a sweet pick by Anthony Rendon. Going into foul territory. A blind throw with something on it, right on the money. A beautiful 5-4-3 double play. So it's all the donuts. We show you defense.
Yeah, donuts and defense sounds like a noon game to me. CRUZ, Seager, Valencia, top 5 for Seattle. Nelson Cruz struck out swinging. First time he had swung at a pitch out of the zone on 3-1, and then Gio got him. Danger count. And you would think the green light's blazing for this guy if he sees one down the middle.
100%. Or not.
Probably looking for something he could pull. He goes the other way and drives it. Bryce Harper circling back on the run. 1 out, 5th inning. Kyle Seager hit one to Harper first time.
They're playing the Bryce is Right song every time Bryce catches a ball, but that show might be on right now. Good command of the curveball early in the count, stealing strike 1. Now you can bounce it late in the count, go back to it.
Oh, and 1 target away. Gio bolts the edge with a fastball right where Lobaton wanted it.
See, now you bounce the curveball. You already showed you can throw it for a strike. You have to respect it. Throw that wiffle ball curve up there.
There it is, and he left it up. Base hit Seager. Harper to retrieve it. The gun to second. Double with 1 out, 5th inning. Seattle's first hit.
Tried to bounce it, left it out over, and Kyle Seager with the first hit in this ball game. Curveball stayed up, hit it off the end, placed it perfectly, and a Bryce hustling over there. Had a little trouble on the exchange, or he might have got him. Little double pump action, still close at second base. .95 miles an hour on the Bryce Harper throw.
He has 3 outfield assists. Danny Valencia, ground ball to Turner first time. And the 2-0 curve.
Good feel for that pitch all day, except for that last pitch with 2 strikes to Kyle Seager. Really the only mistake Gio's made. I don't know that I've seen his tempo this quick all year. He's getting it and going. Doesn't work slow, but I've never seen him work this fast. Maybe taking a cue from Tanner Roark last night.
(3-1). Time given. We heard Adam Hamari shout it out. Tanner outstanding last night. 102 pitches, 67 strikes. Didn't walk anybody. 1 run on 8 hits. They had 2 hits in an inning against him 3 times. And in only the first did they score. There's his 3rd walk of the day. First and second, 1 out against Gio with Tyler Motter coming up. Taylor Motter. And he walked his first time. Lobaton for a visit. This inning, the first time they've had a runner make it to second.
Gio's been so good this year at pitching around trouble with the bottom half of the strike zone or lower to get the ground ball. You should see some pitches down here.
Lobaton blocking the curve.
.37 strikes, 37 balls. That's why it's tough to game plan against guys like Gio.
One-oh pitch. Good concentration by Gio. Seager looked like he was going off second before stopping. Seager doubled. Valencia walked. Throwing that curveball and then bounces away from Lobaton. Both runners will move up.
Well, there goes the double play opportunity. Now Gio's got to pitch for the strikeout, so you got to change mid-batter what you were trying to do. Spun the curveball up there. That's the one he wanted to throw to Kyle Seager.
They're in at the corners, deep up the middle. 3-1.
Well, he got double play on deck. Remember, Zunino hit into that 5-4-3 double play. Only thing is, hit that ball hard to Anthony Rendon to the backhand. If you're thinking it's going to be one of those low-scoring games, which obviously it is, you got a base here. You don't have to give in.
Way inside, bases loaded.
It's not the worst thing in the world. Now
2 walks in the inning, 4 on the day.
Now you're 1 pitch away. You think he ever just goes like Spock pinch on the trap right there to kind of like get his point across? It's like dig in and say,
Mr. Spock would not be a good pitching coach. They'd all be going down.
you listen to me.
Now let's be logical about this next matchup. Adam Hamari comes out to break it up. Bases loaded, 1 out, scoreless game, top 5. Zunino in the series 1 for 8. It was a homer for the Mariners' only run Tuesday night. You know they're dying for a crooked number on the board. They have scored 1 run in 5 straight games. All losses. Gio's going to go to the windup here. Stepped off. Now back on. Extreme third base end of the pitching rubber. A lot of off speed here.
Kind of wishing it in there all of a sudden. Thinking about maybe the double play more than executing the pitch. Those are both down the zone, but he's not letting it loose.
Guy's got a lot of power. Off to the right it goes. He doesn't hit for high average. But you make a mistake, he's an all or nothing guy who can leave the yard. That's a quality fastball for a strike. at 92 and the count's even. Mercedes-Benz pitch cast.
See the eye roll by Gio. He's saying to himself, yeah, just let it rip. Good frame by Jose Lobaton to get the calls, and Nino thought it was down. A lot of talking to Adam Hamari here today by both sides.
2-2, swinging a foul straight back.
Did he just break the sign? I think it left the mark.
Foul tip and a strikeout. Gio gets in on the hands of the Seattle catcher. Now he gets to face the pitcher. 2 outs.
Well, huge out with the pitcher on deck. Now you got to throw strikes. Miranda struck out his first time up, but watch him plant the fastball, middle in. Zunino late, and it's a big strikeout. Gio with a let's go as he gets the ball back from Jose Lobaton. Huge strikeout here in the 5th.
All up to him now with the pitcher coming in. Miranda struck him out first time. He's up there hacking. He's got nothing to lose here. Gio now first 18 batters. That was his 5th first hit, first pitch strike.
I'd make my pitcher take a strike with the bases loaded, 2 outs. Especially with all the walks Gio's featured here today. There's no way I'd let him go up hacking. Not an American League pitcher that never hits.
That's a good point.
I mean, you got to take a strike and hope for a walk here if you're Scott Service and the Mariners. You know, then it gets to, you know, a 1-strike count, you go to work, but you can't go up there hacking as a pitcher in the American League that never hits. That's bad baseball, sorry.
Here's the 0-2. Gio out of the inning. 4 walks on the day, 7 strikeouts, 2 of each in that 5th inning. And no score. A Mazda do up as we go bottom 5. The hot Anthony Rendon, 4 hits in this series, 3 homers, 8 RBIs, hitting well over 300 his last 31 games. Time for the Unlimited Baseball break, brought to you by T-Mobile. I'm going to go bottoms up here. Anthony Rizzo warming it up, and he hopes he carries the Cubs on his shoulders. They're only 3 over 500. Joey Votto, some say he takes too many walks. Well, he's an on-base machine. And then there's Chris Sale, 101 strikeouts through 10 starts. He joins Randy Johnson, Pedro, Schilling, and Clemens as the only pitcher since 1900 with 100 strikeouts or more in their first 10 starts. Gio, 7 strikeouts today, 4 walks and 1 hit. Crazy outing. In that inning, he threw 27 pitches, but he still, while bending a bit, has not broken.
Yeah, all season long that's been Gio. When it looks like the wheels are about to come off, he rights the ship, which we haven't seen in the past. It's nice to see fighting out there. First one that scores today wins. Here we go.
Rendon fouled out to Zunino, the catcher, first time. Miranda, 7 innings his last time out. 1 run on just 4 hits at home against the White Sox. Strike call. He's gone 7 3 times this year. Gio's gone 7 a couple of times and 6 innings 7 times. Rendon throws his hands up and it's ball 1. Rendon out in front of 1, heading for the pole. See you later. And the Nats are on top. 4th home run of the series for Anthony Rendon.
Well, there goes the no-hitter. There goes the shutout. And there goes Anthony Rendon, who's tearing up the Seattle Mariners.
His 9th, Nationals' 71st home run, and upstairs to Michael A. Taylor. 3 games in a row, a career high for him. Miranda's given up his 10th, so he gives up 1 per start. And I think we had that in our preview graphic last night discussing today's matchup. One to Taylor, hit the ball well to center first time up. Here's where Michael A can be aggressive. 2-1 count. Good take. Seen it well. God, Anthony Rendon's going to be in the top 10 in RBIs very soon. The 10th guys in the league have 33, and that was his 32nd. Zimmerman, Harper, and Murphy in that club. Now a full count. Inside. Good AB by Michael A. Only the 6th time he's walked this year.
Check out the tater again. Anthony Rendon, his 4th home run looked like an off-speed pitch, maybe a changeup down in. 83 miles an hour, just stays through it. Look at the beautiful finish. The high one-hand finish and another high drive. This one halfway up the bleachers and left, and Joe Ross just says, hey. Anthony said, I wish Joe Ross could pitch every game, because it seems like every time Joe Ross pitches, Anthony Rendon has a big game.
Yeah. I think Joe Ross told Mass and Danny wishes he could start every game. Out! Perfect throw, Mike Zunino.
I like the aggressive idea here. Zunino got rid of it quick. It seemed like Michael A slowed down a little bit there at the end, and they just got the tag on his hand. Good idea, though.
Yeah, how about that quick hand by Robinson Cano? 0-1 to Lobaton inside. Target away. Misses on the other side. 2-1. That ball cracked into left. It's one of the hardest balls Jose Lobaton's hit all year. He's going to have to hustle. Throw in from Motter way offline. And Jose Lobaton with the 2-bagger. That's his 3rd extra base hit. 2nd double to go with a homer.
You don't play every day, you get a shot. You get to a 2-1 count, you got to take advantage. And Jose Lobaton in the driver's seat gets a 2-1 heater right down the middle, catches it out front, hooks it down the corner. So a 1-out double by Jose Lobaton. And let's watch him fly. StatCast had him at 42 miles an hour coming around first.
Oh, I thought that was coming to the ballpark.
Maybe. Picking up traffic today.
Cracked. Hear that sound?
See if Gio bunts here. That doesn't make a lot of sense with 1 out and a runner on second, but I don't. You have a potential infield single on deck is why I'm saying it. Trey Turner.
Corner infielder shallow. Yeah, and you don't have a fast runner at second. So I see your point, trying to move him up 90 feet.
Yeah.
So Gio pumping on the first one. Seattle's best throwing outfielder, Gerard Dyson, on the bench today.
Something's hurting him. I mean, he always kind of winces after swings. I've seen it for 4 years now, but today's a little different. Watch him kind of buckle here after the swing.
Shorten it up.
That's why maybe the bunt's a good idea.
Huggy!
1-2 count with 1 out. Homer, walk, double in the inning. And Gio pops it up left side. Bob Henley gets out of the way for Seager. 2 outs. Trey Turner will try to double the Nats' lead. Inside the Numbers brought to you by Jeep. Runners in scoring position. Matt Wieters is in the top of the league. Anthony Rendon came in 5th in the National League, and then the other guys adding up to a number for the Nats. It's been over 300 as a team the entire time this season, and Turner doing his part. Good take to get the count in his favor.
Insane ducks on the pond came from.
And not from Hunters. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that.
No, that's not hunting. That's killing if you shoot a ball there on the pond.
Yeah, no challenge in that. That day game in Atlanta not going well for the home team. Pirates 7, Braves nothing. 5th inning. Some other afternoon baseball. Rockies underway at Philly. Phillies have lost 5 in a row. Lobaton getting a huge lead. Middle infielder's not paying him any mind here, so with Bob Henley's help, Jose getting way off that bag in case there's a hit into the outfield.
Ducks on the pond is believed to have come from Arch McDonald, the announcer for the Washington Senators in the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
There's a picture of Arch in the hallway right outside here. He used to recreate games on the radio.
How about that?
Well done, Arch.
Yeah, baby Arch.
Yeah, he, in fact, there's a picture of him out there. I think he's got a xylophone and some other sound effects. And a lot of, back in those days, a lot of announcers would recreate the games on the radio when the team was on the road. Some didn't travel there, guys. And he'd take the ticker tape, read what's happening in the game, and make it all up. at least fill in the blanks. 3-1.
You're stretching out that whatever is tight.
Turner takes the walk, and that'll get Worth up with 2 outs. Second walk of the inning, third of the day by Miranda. Good to see Trey Turner not up there swinging at bad pitches. It's a good at bat for him.
It is.
It's only his 6th walk of the year.
I think if he starts walking more, the hits will start coming big time. He's an aggressive hitter, so it's hard to make a kid change his style and lose his aggressive nature. But yeah, the more pitches you see, the more time you have to time them up.
Michael A. Taylor and Trey Turner walk in the same inning. Worth has walked once, hit a line drive to left really hard his second time up. Right at Motter to end the 3rd inning. So he's had a couple of good at bats. More pitches he sees, the more dangerous he is, and that's ball 1. Hmm. 83, a strike. Jason thought it was out of the zone. We'll see. Nissan.
He thought it was outside. Watch how he takes it. He's like, He's listening for the call.
Of course, the first one looked like a strike, and that was called ball 1. That's a really good changeup there. 80. Now the battle begins, 1-2, and Worth doesn't mind hitting with 2 strikes. Longest inning for Ariel Miranda. It started with the Anthony Rendon homer to left. He's only retired 1 batter in the inning, but the caught stealing got him the other out. That one bounces. Blocked by Zunino.
Crowd's starting to get behind Jason Worth. Big at bat in this game.
Nats on top. Looking to bust it open here. Worth up the middle, and that's a base hit. Here comes Lobaton. Heredia will wing it home, and it's cut off. The Nats lead 2-0.
Clutch.
Jason Worth, RBI number 16.
Well, we've seen it for 7 years now. The more pitches Jason Worth sees the middle at bat, the more likelihood it's going to end well for the Nationals. And it gets a fastball up out over the plate, gets on top of it right by Miranda's glove and into center field. I don't think if Gene Segura was playing straight up shortstop, he had a chance. That throw off liner, there might have been some action at home plate, but a clutch 2-out knock by Jason Worth.
Runners in scoring position, and Jason Worth's numbers are on the rise. He's now hitting over .335 his last 15 games. So here's Harper with a chance to make it a huge inning. Great speed at second. One of the best base runners in the game behind him. Ball 1.
I'll tell you what, when your whole team's hitting with runners in scoring position like we just showed you, it just becomes another at-bat. When you're not hitting with runners in scoring position, it's rip the sawdust out of the handle of the bat and everybody trying too hard and nobody can drive in a run. So it's a nice thing that Dusty Baker's club has going right now.
Yeah, Mariners probably going through that right now. American League ball club scoring 1 run in 5 straight games, and nothing today.
If I don't do it, dude behind me is going to do it. If he doesn't do it, the next guy's going to. So let's just go up there, see ball, hit ball. Whereas if you're not doing it, I have to do it right now because the guy on deck has no chance.
1 ball, 1 strike. Harper to the right side. Miranda had him reaching. That's it for the Nats. 2 runs in the 5th. Anthony Rendon gets it started. 5 hits in the series, 4 homers, 9 RBIs. You knew if it was fair, it was gone. Then the Nats add another thanks to Worth.
But we're definitely going to keep an eye on it. Not going to speculate, but there's a bunch of video evidence that something's not feeling great. This is his first at-bat, and he winces and stretches and does this a lot when he hits. But then coming off the mound, digging his thumb into his rib cage. We saw some action after some pitches, and this was his last at-bat. That little buckle right there, something not feeling right on the right side of Gio Gonzalez, then stretching the dugout. So, hey, everybody's banged up that plays this game. We just hope that it's not that bad.
Now the Mariners have 2 hits. Gene Segura.
And if it was, they wouldn't be running back out there.
Leadoff man aboard, 6th inning. Just heard the phone ring out in the bullpen. Heredia, Cano, CRUZ. Strikeout and a bunt attempt in the air caught by Zimmerman. Guillermo 0 for 2. Rendon even with the bag at 3rd. And that one had Casey Candell, the first base coach, ducking.
Must have been a low one.
Former Expo.
Short guys can make fun of each other.
Who can say their mom played in the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League? Casey Candell can, his mom Helen Callahan. So Justin Turner up. He's a guy that can, pardon me. He's a guy that can eat up some innings. I wouldn't want Justin Turner pitching, but he can sure hack for the Dodgers. We'll see him next week. 1-1. M's box 2 hits. 4 walks. Gio has not allowed any of them to score. So Seager the double, 1 out last inning, eventually stranded at 3rd. Now Segura. One and 2. 2-2.
Try to frame it up.
Time for the shutdown inning. 2-2 count. Rendon has backed up considerably at 3rd. Got him. Adam Hamari thought about it a moment, then punched out Guillermo Heredia. And for Gio, strikeout number 8.
Scott Service is yelling at Adam Hamari right now from the Mariners dugout that ball was down. And Scott, a former catcher, saw Jose Lobaton pull that back up into the zone, and he is not happy.
He checked it.
Just got thrown out. And Adam Hamari's had a tough day. He's been getting it from both sides. He's pointing at Jose Lobaton saying, he's tricking you. He's been framing those all day long. He's pulling them up into the zone, and you're buying it. I'm a catcher. I used to do that. Guaranteed, that's what he's saying.
Tim Bogard, their bench coach, will take over.
That's a lot of frustration over losing 5 in a row, too. And the way they've lost 5 in a row, they haven't been scoring any runs. Their starting pitching has been scuffling, and Scott Service has just seen enough. Can't blame him, really.
Then he got tossed.
Wouldn't that be great just to do that to people in life? At least you had enough of whatever they were saying.
Toss him out of the office?
Just toss him out of wherever. Just point at him and just take off your hat or whatever and just throw somebody out of your life. You're gone.
If we could do that, it would sure help traffic around here.
I think you should be able to eject people from life.
Here's Cano. Gio falls behind, and now it's 2-0. But yeah, don't buy season tickets behind that.
It's a lumpy scalp.
Teddy's not going that well either. He needs to do some PR work in the crowd. He's 0 for. This is home game number 22. He is 0 for this year.
He's slumping hard.
And a ball driven to left with authority over toward the gap. Segura reading it all the way, goes to third, and Worth does the right thing by throwing into second. And the Mariners have a 1-out threat going here in the 6th. Robinson Cano now in the series, 4 for 10, coming off the DL. And the tying run, pardon me, the lead run is walking to home plate here in CRUZ.
A sweet swing by Robinson Cano, and here comes Dusty Baker, I think, because of all the stuff we showed you. He knows that Gio's not 100%. Mariners got a little something going on here in the 6th. Gio frustrated, but he pitched a heck of a ball game. He should get a nice round of applause here leaving the mound.
3 hits and 5 1/3, but a lot of pitches. 96 to get there. 8 strikeouts and 4 walks. 96 pitches, 50 strikes. If you need expert printing, the UPS store has you covered. Together, there's nothing we can't solve. It's the Nats UPS store. Call to the bullpen. there, and that's into their bullpen. Going to have to get 11 outs from the pen today, and Jacob Turner, 9th appearance. He's made a couple of starts.
Check out lefties, the reverse splits hitting 206 against Jacob. Fastball, slider, curveball change. Fastball averaging 95. Curveball best secondary pitch, 12-6 variety at 79 miles an hour. And got a big out to get here, Nelson Cruz.
Cruz career against Turner, 1 for 1 with a single. 0 for 2 today in the series, 0 for 5. Didn't play yesterday. Don't throw one right down the middle to get ahead of this guy. Cruz, runners in scoring position, 348. Tied for first in the American League with 37 runs batted in. Inside the Numbers brought to you by PNC Bank. Since the All-Star break last year, would most people, baseball people, think Anthony Rendon had as many RBIs as Nelson Cruz? We would here, but probably a secret elsewhere. How about that? That ball gets away, but the runner from third doesn't score. Segura reading that. He's played in this ballpark before. He knows how hard the ball can come off that back wall, but it really didn't come that far. But the runner did go to second, Cano.
Just yanked the fastball, and I don't think he had a real big primary lead to continue rolling down the line. Good hustle by Jose Lobaton. Probably a good decision down by 2.
Double play possibility now erased. 2-1's the count. And Cruz is going to crack one deep to center. Taylor can only watch it, and Seattle has the lead. No decision for Gio. And for Nelson Cruz, his 12th of the year. And RBI total is up to 40.
Oh, you just feel like every time Gio comes out of the game with the lead, this happens. Check out the pitch sequence. Jacob Turner, Nelson Cruz, first pitch. Fastball down the way. Second pitch right there. This one just a yanked fastball that goes to the screen. So you go from pitching for the double play to pitching for a strikeout, leave a slider out over, and Nelson Cruz, large human being, hit this ball far. And just like that, Seattle up 3-2. Scott Service gets ejected. Mariners take the lead. Rally ejection.
24th home run given up by the bullpen. Kyle Seager, the hitter.
Continue to fall behind. You got to get ahead out of the bullpen. You have to throw strike 1, or you'll see starting pitchers looking like that a lot.
2-0 fastball to the outside edge. So the Mariners finally break that one-run thing they had going on. Two-two pitch. Just to the right of the bag.
It's the first time the Mariners have scored more than 1 run since May 18th. They have been scuffling big time offensively. Their starting rotation, because of injury, has been scuffling, and Nelson Cruz just kind of got him off the schneid. Crooked numbers for the Mariners. That has to feel good in the third base dugout.
That ball lifted to right, and that's trouble if it's fair. Just foul. Off that wall that's about 20 feet high in the corner. The yellow stripe goes all the way up there to the foul pole, and it just hooked enough for the Nats.
So just foul? I couldn't tell from where I'm sitting. Close. Heads up, Jimmy. Ugly finder. He's pointing right where it is.
Jimmy calls it foul. 3-2 again. Only the second time Seattle's led in the series, and the other time was last night after the top of the first, before the Nats got 4. 3-2 and a walk. Next up, Danny Valencia. Now Mike Mannix a visit.
Dusty Baker heading back to Sacramento after the ball game. His son Darren graduating from high school this weekend. Chris Spire will take the helm against the Padres.
It's a great baseball man right there.
Skipper for the weekend.
You know, today's game is kind of the key to having a great homestand. You made a good point. We were chatting this morning about the upcoming road trip. San Francisco 3, Oakland 3. You don't really know what to expect there. You know the Giants are always tough at home, as are the Dodgers at the end of that trip. Nats haven't done much winning in LA in recent years. And if they could get this one today and go into the weekend against the worst hitting team in baseball, feeling pretty good about the homestand.
Yeah, Oakland's 15-10 at home this year. San Francisco 11-10 at home. And the Dodgers 17-8 at Dodger Stadium. So yeah, you have to take advantage of this homestand before a tough West Coast trip.
Ball 1. Nats need a ground ball. Been on the field for a long time here. There's a grounder, but it's through. Seager stopping, knowing Harper's gun out there. So the line's moving for the Mariners now. They have first and second, one out after the homer by Cruz.
A good pitch. Just well placed by Danny Valencia.
So 1 hit in 5 innings, and now 4 hits in a third of an inning as the bullpen phone rings again. Taylor Motter, the hitter. Motter has hit into 5 double plays, facing Turner for the first time.
think of the games that Gio's left with the lead, and then ended up with a no decision. Couple against Philadelphia, and then maybe here today.
First start of the year, gave up no runs on 7 hits in 6 innings to the Marlins in a game the Nats eventually lost 4-3.
He's upset with himself right now. He thinks he should have got out of that inning. I hope he's okay. That's the main thing about today. If he wasn't, he'd probably be getting treatment right now. So
2-0.
Just frustrated.
And a ball high in the air to right center. Bryce Harper has it twisting back toward him. He's going to make the catch and launch it to third. Turner saw the runner not go into second, so he let it go through, and Seager safe over there, 2 outs.
You know, normally the center fielder will take this because Bryce has the angle toward third base and the momentum going that way. Maybe the arm is a little stronger than Michael A. Taylor's, but Bryce loves to throw, gets around that one, and makes it a lot closer than everybody thought at third. The throw just a little bit offline.
If the inning continues, Miranda could be done for the day. They're warming Tony Zick in the bullpen, and they have a pinch hitter, Boog Powell, on deck. Turner ahead of a hitter. Zunino, 5-4-3 double play ball and a swinging strikeout. Faces Turner for the first time. Blake Trinan for the Nats, the subject of that second call to the bullpen. The phone call. In on his hands, and that hit Zunino. That ball was just boring in on him.
See, when I think of Jacob Turner, that's the pitch I think about. That two-seam fastball, mid-90s, born in on a right-hander. That's a good pitch, even though a little collateral damage here for Mike Zunino. Look at the run on this fastball, and right off his left knee. That's definitely going to leave a mark. He's a catcher, too. Catchers are tough, so if he's talking to the trainer, you know that one hurt.
Trainer Rick Griffin out there. Sun blazing at the ballpark right now. I see some guys looking up, infielders, outfielders checking the sky. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Heavy sink on that 96. Big inning for the Mariners. Cruz homers for 3. Zimmerman will lead off. Ryan straight ahead, bottom 6. Saturday, third annual Star Wars Day at Nationals Park. Nats Padres, Chewbacca Koozie, first 25,000 fans. Visit nationals.com/promotions. Second game of that 3-game weekend series, and that's 4:05. First pitch on Sunday.
Star Wars. He's ready. Vintage Star Wars shirt. 3-2, bottom of the 6th inning. Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers donate $250 to the Children's National Health System for each of the first 200 home runs the Nats hit this season. Lexus, experience amazing.
26-year-old right-hander Tony Zick, originally drafted by the Cubs out of St. Rita High School in Chicago. Then he went to the University of Louisville. Been around quite a while in professional baseball, and this will be his part of his third season in the big leagues.
2 pitches, fastball, slider. Fastball averages 95. He throws it 61% of the time. Slider 80-81. Tough out to get right here, and Ryan Zimmerman. Mariners want to shut down any.
Yes, they do. Miranda 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, walked a couple, struck out 4, 85 pitches, 52 strikes, the Rendon homer. Nationals see Zick in person for the first time. Ball 1. Coming off right shoulder biceps tendon transfer surgery last October.
That doesn't sound good. I'm not a doctor, but that sounds good.
That's a long one. Good news for the Mariners, the surgery did not involve his rotator cuff. 2-0. Ryan, 366 versus right-handed pitching this year. Big bend on that curveball. Another one, though dropped, called strike 2. I wouldn't throw another one in that location.
Yeah, because your slider's not very good. You throw it there, it's going somewhere.
Yeah. I'll hang one. That one started out a little low and then went outside. Good breaking ball. First out, 6th inning.
Yeah, short, quick slider here from Zick. Short Zick slider.
I heard his stuff is Zick this year.
It is. Right there it was.
Murphy 0 for 2 today.
Kind of take you through an offense mentality when you're up 2-0. You know, you're in the dugout, kind of skipping around, thinking, "All right, boys, let's add on. Let's tack on a few more, send these guys packing." And then all of a sudden, you have to change gears, change mentality to comeback mode. And a lot of times, that's not easy from a mental standpoint. You know, you're still going to go up there and grind out your at bats and try to do what you can do to get your knocks on a given day, but just your mentality as a hitter changes immediately from woohoo, let's add on, to uh-oh, we got to come back. And it's more of a mental grind, especially day game after night game. It's tough to downshift and to get it back in gear.
1-1 to Murphy. So he's seen 96 and then 95 here on the heater. Nelson Cruz. Guy's a powder keg, and he just exploded.
Kind of muscled that ball out. I mean, when he clicks them, they're no doubters, but he kind of steered that ball out of here in left center.
Murphy straight at Danny Valencia for the 2nd out.
All right, show you a couple homers today. First, Anthony Rendon, another tater. What's new? Like a changeup down and in, just dropped the barrel on it. 104.1, 385 feet. It's a far one. And then the one I'm talking about, just pure muscle right here, just muscles that thing out to left center, 106 miles an hour, 415 feet to make it a 3-2 ball game, and the shot in the arm the Mariners have been looking for about a week now.
Somebody told CRUZ about our graphics showing Rendon even with him in RBIs, so he went up 3 with that swing. The two guys who know how to drive in runs. Nats box, nothing until Rendon's homer, leading off the 5th. Since then, a Lobatone double, a Worth RBI single, some walks mixed in. Looking at Tony Zick set up for his pitches, getting the sign. Kind of reminds me with the glove of your old buddy Ryan Matthews.
Oh yeah, good call.
Ryan, much more sinister than that, though. 0-2. Tried to throw that breaking ball he threw to Zimmerman, just missed.
Tony.
If you mean by sinister, scarier looking, yeah, you're right.
We know Ryan's watching, so that was for his benefit, right?
He watches them all still.
Yeah. 1-2.
Not too many guys can wait that long and have strong enough wrists and forearms to flick that ball away.
Saw the guy earlier with the Paul Molitor jersey on. He was one of the latest, quickest swingers you would ever see.
Right, good comparison. That guy, he could hit.
Rendon got an off-speed pitch, waited and waited, out of play it goes. Play him straight away. And that's straight up the middle. Anthony Rendon, 6 for 11 against Seattle now in this series.
I mean, so quick and so late with this swing. Watch him pull his hands in. This ball's chasing him, and it's chasing the handle of his bat, but he's so quick that he pulls him in, gets his hands inside of it, just fights it right back up the middle. Tough to get the barrel to this baseball, but Anthony Rendon just can hit. I mean, sit here and break it down all I want. He can flat out hit.
Michael A. Taylor.
Pretty good series. 545.
Oh yeah.
4 taters.
Taylor taking that first pitch frisbee for a strike. Michael A's got his hands full with this at bat. The way Zick throws that hook. I'm wondering if he'll even see a fastball in this AB. If he does, it's for show probably. So he's got a battle here with 2 outs in 0-2. Way out is the target. Check swing. Pitcher's got it. And Zick gets the shutdown inning the Mariners wanted. Nationals have stranded 5, and we go to the 7th in a 3-2 game. All but one run driven in by home runs today. Worth's RBI single, the singular one. And we go top 7. Boog Powell pinch hitting here for the pitcher Zick. Jacob Turner, first pitch misses. As you mentioned last night, no relation to that Boog Powell. Up the middle, that's going to get through. Five of the last 9 Seattle batters have had hits, and 6 of the last 9 on base. Top of the order, Gene Segura. There's Matt Grace. Had a nice 14-pitch 1-2-3 ninth in the blowout Tuesday night.
Probably be for Robinson Cano, you'd think. Yeah, we sit up here all the time and say strike one's important, strike one's important. And you might be sitting at home going, well, why is strike one important? I used to think 1-0 was the best count to hit him. Because you know the guy's got to throw a strike. You know he doesn't want to walk you. You know, everybody talks about 2-0, 3-1 being great counts. I think 1-0 is the best count to hit. So when you threw ball 1 to me as a horrible hitter, you made me a decent hitter just by throwing ball 1. Because I was going to swing, I was going to be aggressive, and I was going to be on your fastball. But if you threw 0-1, the first pitch strike, I had no idea what was coming. Now I'm on my heels. I'm guessing. Maybe I guess right, maybe I guess wrong, but it's an easier thought process and a more aggressive mentality when you throw that first pitch for a ball as a hitter, from a hitter standpoint. Just one pitch makes such a huge difference.
Powell, 63 minor league stolen bases. That's inside, 1-1. So they have a good combination of speed on the bases and a guy who can really handle the bat. In Segura, who has walked in single today in the series, he's 3 for 10. Osprey just went by coming up the Anacostia River. That's a heavy rotor sound you heard.
Distinct sound too.
Had to look down to see him. Two-one pitch. Up the middle. Powell looking at Taylor and stopping. 2 on, nobody out, and the plot's getting thick here in the 7th with Heredia next, but then they're big guns. MLB.TV Premium back better than ever. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices, plus a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout, other restrictions apply. MLB.TV. Log on for details. Segura now 5 for 13 career against Turner, who deals with Guillermo Heredia. This guy can run.
Button right here.
That's what the Nats are wondering. They pinch the corner infielders. It's a strike call. And he acted like a hitter who took a pitch that would have been good to bunt.
You bunt right here, you're taking the bat out of Robinson Cano's hand, and you're hoping that Nelson Cruz drives everybody in. Because you'd think Dusty Baker would walk Cano and leave Turner in. That might scratch Matt Grace. That's why they called it off, and he's swinging.
Well, that helps. Turner, Murphy, safe. That ball was hit hard, and Heredia still beat it out. So it'll be first and third, 1 out on the 6-4.
Well, tricky hop for Trey Turner that took his weight toward the outfielder. He would have taken that himself. Here comes Dusty Baker to get Matt Grace to face Robinson Cano. But watch the hop that Turner had to kind of lose his momentum. Maybe if he runs over the bag, he's got a chance, but I just think Heredia is too fast, period. That in-between hop was the difference in 2 outs runner on third, or first and third 1 out.
So it's Grace and Cano, lefty-lefty matchup. The Nats trying to keep this a 1-run game. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the expressed written consent of the Washington Nationals. Beautiful day. Sun's out. Too many base runners the last 2 innings, though, for Seattle, and Matt Grace will have a tough matchup ahead as he faces Robinson Cano for the first time.
The 7th appearance, you see the ERA. 6 2/3 innings. Fastball slider combination. Fastball 90, slider 82. Throws the slider just 18% of the time, but you'd figure Robinson Cano is going to see a steady diet here. Pitching for the strikeout. Ball on the ground's a double play. Cano can't run yet.
Base hit last time right in front of the CRUZ home run. Robinson Cano 4 for 10 in this series. Pretty significant after going hitless his first game back, and he got on fire last night. That gets ahead, foul tip. Good speed at third. Really good speed at first.
Boy, if you'd have told me someday I'd be broadcasting a major league game in 2017 where Robinson Cano is trying to drive in Boog Powell from third. So what planet am I on?
Yeah.
Paul Molitor's in the stands today. I'm lost.
Yeah, it's throwback day here. Oh-2. Griffey's here.
Yep.
Wow. Our crew's on the hunt now. They're picking up your scent.
Yep. My scent's not good today.
Tire that shirt or do something, would you? 0-2. Grace tantalizing Cano with a pitch outside. Armin Killebrew in the yard. What a great Senator and then Minnesota Twin he was. One of the nicest men ever.
Keep it going.
Love it. Hey, it's day baseball. It's old school, right?
Yep. Good pick. Keep the double play in order. Matt Grace trying to keep that fastball down to get Robinson Cano on the ground.
Blake Trinan still throwing. For CRUZ next. This should be a one batter thing.
Tom Gorzolani's here.
Gorzo. 2-2 with one out. Hot shot, base hit. That'll make it 4-2. Heading for at least third is Heredia as Bryce Harper returns it to Trey Turner. And Robinson Cano strikes again. 4 for 11, 2 RBIs in the series. That run charge to Jacob Turner.
I'll tell you what, the great ones, you can just sense it. That's my RBI, and I'm driving them in. Cano fouled off some tough pitches to get to the slider, stayed on it. Ryan Zimmerman hugging the line, couldn't get to it. And the line moving here in the 7th for the Mariners, 4-2.
Trinan and CRUZ when we bring you back to Nationals Park. Seattle's been thirsting for runs, and they're getting some offense finally from their standpoint today. That's bullpen trying to keep it close. It's been a scuffle so far. Padres in town tomorrow. Max will pick up the ball and take on San Diego, a struggling offensive ball club. Right-handers hitting .139 against him this year. He'll be looking for win number 5. ERA just over 3. Strikeout totals up there among the best in the league, along with opponents' batting average. 6:30. We're back to the nighttime thing tomorrow. Johnny and Ray from left field will join you at 7. First pitch 7:05 from one of the Nats aces. Here's Blake Trinan to take on Nelson Cruz, and they match up for the first time.
Our fastball slider combination, fastball two-seam variety, a lot of sink to it, 95 to 98.
.96 and straight down. Turner still responsible for Heredia at third. Grace with Cano at first. 0-1 pitch.
Try to keep that ball close to Nelson Cruz. Try to get that ground ball to third. Maybe induce a double play. Tough to elevate Blake Trinan on the fastball under his hands. The slider is Cruz's best pitch probably to do that.
2-1. Well, he's trying to turn this thing around. 6 out of 9 batters against the bullpen have reached base. 2-run deficit, not a huge deal for this offense.
Great idea. Keep it down there. Yeah, Mariners bullpen's anything but locked down. They've had closer issues. So, yeah. Ground ball here would be huge for Dusty Baker's squad.
Kyle Seager waiting. He's had a good series. All 3.
I'm watching Robinson Cano at first base, and he's asking everybody if he's going, and everyone's telling him no.
3-2 with 1 out. Well, why go? He can walk to second now. Kyle Seager is next. So 10 batters, 3 outs by the bullpen so far. Got to find a way to keep this a 2-run game. Seager a double, a walk in the series, 4 for 9. And he faces Trinan for the first time.
That got Jose Lobaton. He needs a second. Good block. Slider in the dirt. And Mike Maddox going to come out to the mound, and this game's come to a screeching halt. Still hurt. Pump me up speech from Mike Maddox.
This is a big pitch. Bases are loaded. This goes to 2-0. It gets scary.
It looked like he's finishing his pitches today, kind of cutting it off, aiming it, so to speak. But when Blake Trinan's good, he really reaches out to the catcher. Today, doesn't look like that's the case so far. Not finishing his delivery.
Hot shot. Murphy picks it off. Can Turner turn it? He can. The Nats get a huge 4-6-3 double play on a ball that was scorched to the right side.
I'll tell you what, Daniel Murphy's becoming a really good second baseman. We use the Jeff Kent comparison all the time. You think of him as a hitter and not as a defender. That play might have just saved the day by Daniel Murphy. Mark that down. Going to his left, a bullet. Look at the feed. And a nifty 4.63.
Three innings with the bats, while the Nats take off on the road, head down to the Fitz on the 31st. Winning Wednesday featuring 8.5 innings, still says 9, of raffles and giveaways. Call 703-590-2311 or visit PotomacNationals.com. James Pazos takes over, one of the two lefties from the Seattle bullpen. We know the other guy, Mark Zepchinski, for them, and here's Pazos.
Lots of Z's in their bullpen, left-handed. Fastball 96, 71% of the time, and slider 81, two-pitch guy.
Jose Lobaton getting some right-handed ABs today. So Boog Powell's going to check the sky conditions with his shades. He's in left. Taylor Motter moves over to right, and the good news about that is the bat of Nelson Cruz is out of the game for the rest of the day. So they go with defense. Up the middle to his left, Segura. Plenty of time. One out. Wilmer Defoe is next. Saving Adam Lind for when there's a chance to tie the game or take the lead or to win it. May the slow dance begin. 60s ballad walk-up music for Wilmer.
Unchained Melody, what was that?
Then he hits a hot shot to Segura. Couple of ground balls and 2 kickouts for James Pazos. Matt Albers for the 8th. 98 on the heater. Steve Cishek saved many a game for the Marlins against the Nats years ago. Hard to catch.
Double barrels.
Mark Zebczynski.
High chart.
Of course, we know who he's up for. That would be Harper. One to Turner. Outside. Zunino tried to hold it there for a call. TREA 0 for 2 today, reached on an error and has walked. Ball 3. This could be big. Somebody already hollered, let's go J-Dub.
Yeah.
Anticipating his AB.
Or someone thought that was ball 4 to Trey Turner.
Take a base runner here anyway with 2 outs. To the right side. Turner hustling, digging. He's out. 3 ground ball outs for James Pazos. This ball game to the 8th inning. Seattle trying to salvage one, leading 4-2.
Coda Glover's gotten some 9th inning work for the Nationals over the last handful of days, locking down a 4-out save in Atlanta the other day, and then closing out a 4-run win last night, even though it wasn't a save situation. And Dusty Baker last night after that game confirming what that 9th inning work for Coda might have indicated, that Coda Glover is the Nationals closer for now. Dusty's saying he wanted to break Coda in slowly because he's so young. He was only drafted 2 years ago. It's kind of easy to forget that. But he was lobbying for it in spring, Dusty said. It's the job he wanted, and it's his now, is what Dusty said. And after a scoreless 9th last night, Coda's ERA is down to 2.57. Dusty says he throws quality strikes, and he has a pretty good idea of what he wants to do for a young pitcher. So Coda Glover, the next closer up for the Nationals at this point.
When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. Dan with our Coons.com sideline report. By the way, Coda did tell me this morning, yeah, that is a true slider that he throws at 93. Kind of cut fastball, sliderish looking, and that's pretty hard for a slider. What an arm. Here's Matt Albers. 8th inning underway, and a strike to Danny Valencia.
At 2 pitches, fastball, slider, occasional change, occasional curveball, but tremendous arm side run on the fastball. Slider to go the other way.
Bunch of the, pardon me.
Keep it a 4-2 game.
Bunch of the Mariners have faced him. Valencia 2 for 4 against Matt. 0-2.
Matt Albers did so well the first month of the season, coming out of the bullpen, throwing strikes, going right after guys.
Swing and a miss. Getting ahead, carving up a right-handed batter, 1 out.
Kind of an emergency hack here by Danny Valencia. He saw the sinker away. He also saw it coming back, and he tried to foul it off last second, but a nice pitch by Matt Albers. Washington area Toyota dealers help children and their families by making a donation of $37 to the Children's Inn at NIH for every strikeout by a Nats pitcher this season.
Low to Taylor Motter, 0 for 1. Pair of walks today, 0 for 5 in the series. Counts even.
Good tempo, throwing strikes, working ahead. Tell you what, that two-seam fastball to righties back door is like a left-handed slider. That thing's starting off the plate away and running back hard late. Try it again here. No, slider.
Two-two pitch. Got him looking. Outside edge. 2 Ks for Albers.
The one before that, he got a little too much on top of it. It didn't have run, it had more sink. This one he got on the side of it. Look at it come back right into Jose Lobaton's glove. If you've ever played wiffle ball, that's the pitch, right? Kind of get on the side of it, get the holes on one side. You start it off the plate. Although in wiffle ball, this swings back right under your buddy's hands. In real life baseball, it just comes back for a strike. Nice pitch.
Pretty pitch. Swing and a miss, Zunino. Looks like Nick Vincent will be next for Seattle. Big do-ups for the Nats, 2, 3, 4. Wow.
Wow.
Strikes out the side. The last 2 looking. Matt Albers to its worth. Followed by Bryce Harper and then Ryan Zimmerman. Baseball on Matson, brought to you by Ocean City, Maryland. Put your vacation days to good use in Ocean City. Book now at ococean.com. And by Navy Federal Credit Union, proudly serving the armed forces and their families for over 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA. That's still down by 2. Worth, Harper, Zimmerman coming up. Next 5 ball games. Padres in tomorrow night. Max Scherzer, Luis Perdomo. Strasburg at 4:05 Saturday against Clayton Richard, the lefty. Joe Ross and Jhoulys Chacín on Sunday. Then you're looking at the first 2 of 3 at San Fran, and our friends from WUSA 9 will join us for Sunday's day game and the Memorial Day game from AT&T Park. That should be quite a setting. There's Nick Vincent. 1 hit, scoreless 8th inning last night. Gave up a base hit to Matt Wieters, but he got Murphy, Rendon, and Taylor. Jason Worth 0 for 2 career against him. They're no longer warming up Mark Zepchinski, even though if Worth gets on, Harper would represent the tying run.
And Vincent, fastball cutter change, lots of cutters. And this is the inning if you're going to do it if you're the Nationals, right?
Guys, you want up there.
I mean, if you're one of those analytics guys, the save's right here, right now. This is the argument to bring in your closer in the 8th. Worth, Harper, Zimmerman, and possibly Murphy in a 2-run game. High leverage situation for Nick Vincent.
Bryce will be happy to see a right-hander. Zimmerman halfway up the stairway, so he's half out of the hole. One-two pitch.
Just missed. Lefty's hitting 179 against Vincent, so they're doing a nice job against the first batter he's faced this year.
He's going to ring up Worth on a fastball inside edge.
Front door cutter from Vincent starts right at Jason Worth, kind of freezes him up a little bit. Yeah, he's had a couple of tough pitches called strikes on him today.
Harper 0 for 3 today against the lefty. Ariel Miranda. The Nats have 1 hit since the 5th inning. Harper 0 for 1 against Nick Vincent. Shaving off some corners right now, he is.
Got a pitch.
Base hit, and a couple of bags for Bryce here. Just going to fight off a pitch and bounce it down the left field line. 25th extra base hit of the season.
Just about to say a bloop and a bomb, and you're right back in this. There's the bloop, so to speak. 11th double of the year. Bryce Harper with an inside-out swing. I think it was a cutter on his hands. Let's see it again. Yeah, it was just inside out. Let the ball get deep. Helmet stays on barely. Mariners in the shift. Bryce has hit a few to third base this year. I guarantee you that's his 3rd or 4th hit this way. Nobody there. Invisible third baseman, and now Ryan Zimmerman trying to tie this one up or get on for Daniel Murphy to do more.
Well, that changes a few things. Zimmerman 1 for 2 career with a run batted in on a double against Vincent. Popped him up. Zunino under it. Last minute adjustment to make the grab. 2 outs and a big one. Zepchinski's back up and Edwin Diaz. And with Murphy coming in now, Tim Bogart acting as the manager, their bench coach after Scott Service was thrown out. He'll go to the left-hander Zepchinski.
He's like, you're letting me face Bryce Harper, but I don't get to face Daniel Murphy. What's up? Seriously? maybe in good humor right there.
He said you didn't get Harper. Let's see if we can get Murphy. .50 Nats. Nats won last night despite being out hit 9-7. Left-hander Mark Zepchinski, who appeared in 14 games for Washington last year, 12 innings, 8 hits, 2 earned runs, 1.54 ERA. He'll face Daniel Murphy, who's 0 for 3 career against him.
A fastball slider change, fastball 92. Lots of sliders, you're thinking, for Daniel Murphy. If I'm not mistaken, the last time Zepchinski took the mound here at Nats Park, it was Game 5 against the Dodgers, and he was the one that came in for Max Scherzer after the Jock Peterson home run to left.
He has stranded all but one base runner. Murphy trying to chase home Harper to at least make this a 1-run game. Daniel 33 RBIs, 10th in the National League. 3 ground ball outs against Zepchinski. Strike 1.
You know you got a long last name when the first letter starts on your left rib, about halfway down your jersey.
11 of them.
I mean, most people's last name does not start halfway down their back. And end on the other side in the same spot. We used to call him eye chart affectionately.
There's a 1-1 to Murphy. Murphy backed out. The breaking ball appeared to be up and in, and Adam Hamari called it a strike.
Daniel Murphy not saying a word, that makes me think it's in the box. Barely.
One, two. Murphy, a swing and a miss. Mariners bullpen solid today. They've been pitching since the 6th inning. Haven't given the Nats a run. And Albers will pitch another inning and give the Nats a chance. Rendon, Taylor, Lobaton, bottom 9. We invite you to check out the brand new MASN All Access show on MASN national social media platforms. The new daily show broadcast on Facebook Live and feature a look at that night's game, tweets from fans, Q&As with players, and much more. Follow MASN Nationals on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat for MASN All Access. There's Boog Powell. Base hit. Got their rally going in the 7th when they scored that add-on run. Blake Treinen's double play ball kept it from being a big inning for Seattle. One from Albers. 12 pitches, 9 strikes when he struck out the side in the 8th.
On the attack. Try to front hit that sinker right here.
He's going to bunt it, and Albers over to his left to grab it. That gets by him. It's a hit.
Like a cat, Matt Albers off the mound on that bunt. Nice play. Good idea by Powell. That front hip sinker, bring it with you. Matt Albers off the mound nicely. A former Giants pitcher, Rick Russell, had the same body shape as Matt Albers, and he was a fantastic athlete. He could feel his position. He could swing the bat. You remember Albers hit the triple against the Mets for the Chicago White Sox in interleague play last year, so
yeah,
maybe
Rick
a good
Russell
comparison as far as athletes go. Remember Livan Hernandez was a fantastic athlete off the mound too.
Yeah, Royshel could really swing it. Here's Gene Segura, another guy who can. 2 for 3 today. 4 hits in 11 ABs against the Nats.
Maybe Rick Russell even face Boog Powell. I don't know. Might be a reach.
Livan Hernandez, I recall a conversation we had late in his career here. He was very proud of the fact that in his big league career he had over 100 hits and over 100 sacrifice bunts.
Remember, it was the Levo show every 5th day in 2011 when he pitched. It was fun to watch him field, bunt, whatever he did. He was a lot like Robinson Cano on the mound. Very smooth in everything he did.
Good call. My favorite was in somebody hit a little chopper or bunt when he just seemingly walk over to the ball, pick it up, and act like he was just going to goose it over to LaRoche or Adam Dunn, whoever might have been at first base back then. One ball and 2 strikes.
2011 first base was Michael Morse, wasn't it?
And Nick Johnson before that. Now it's Ryan Zimmerman. It's going to be for a while too. 2-2 with 1 out. Just low. One final rolls in this afternoon at Atlanta. Pirates beat the Braves 9-4. San Diego beat the Mets last night. They'll match up again this evening. Here comes Taylor. And Albers 5 in a row. And if he gets Heredia, he doesn't have to face Robinson Cano. Johnny Holiday and Ray Knight in the yard today, getting ready for the Nats Extra postgame show, presented by Who But WB Mason. Guillermo Heredia 0 for 4 today. It looks like, at least for today, Edwin Diaz is back in the closer's role for Seattle. He's ready. Nobody in the lineup has faced him. My bad, prior to this series, he did pitch a scoreless 7th last night. Got Turner, Worth, and Zimmerman. Intentionally walked Bryce. And that is something Anthony Rendon can't do anything about. That gets Cano to the plate here in the 9th inning.
Beautiful bunt. Usually you don't like the bunt with 2 outs. You rather hit a double, but anytime you get Robinson Cano to the plate, it's a good thing if you're the Mariners.
And Dusty's going to Perez. Robinson Cano, 5 career hits, 2 homers against Matt Albers. So Oliver Perez and Robinson Cano coming up. 2 outs, 9th inning. Keep it 4-2 as he'll take on Robinson Cano here. 14th appearance 13 hits in 9 innings, and Cano against him 5 for 17.
Some good history, 17 at-bats. Ollie, 2-pitch guy, fastball, slider, different deliveries, different release points.
Cano 0 for 2 today before he singled in the 6th the other way and then pulled that big RBI hit in the 7th inning that gave Seattle a 2-run lead, which they still hold on to. Heredia, short to medium lead at first. I'd walk Cano and pitch to Gerard Dyson.
Not the worst idea ever. You can just pitch very carefully to Robinson here.
Yes, sir. So along with those 5 hits, couple of RBIs.
Not that Dyson can't slap a single on you. You just talk about future Hall of Famer versus a guy hitting 207 on deck.
True. Good fastball. 1-1 here in the 9th.
Future Hall of Famer might have been a little strong, but you know what I mean.
Well, if he plays out that contract, he's going to be a 3,000 hit guy.
If he stayed in New York with that short porch and right, I think it would have been a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah, he could have been one of the great Yankees of all time.
I mean, went to Seattle, went for the money. Obviously a great city, a great organization, but when you talk about putting up numbers in Yankee Stadium, the new Yankee Stadium where it flies to right, and that's all you have to do is touch the ball to hit it out. Safeco, it's hard to hit a tater.
He's over 2,250 hits for his career.
Doable.
As we mentioned, signed for 6 more years after this. 34 years of age.
We got the hit last time up on the slider from Matt Grace. Do they go to the slider again here in a 2-2 count?
Robinson Cano originally wore number 24 to kind of reverse honor Jackie Robinson. It's named after Robinson. But when we came to Seattle, a kid named Griffey wore that 24. Nobody else will there. Swing and a miss on a big Perez curveball.
Shows you what we know.
Big hook, and Anthony Rendon has to lead a charge here to get the Nats back even or to win it. Reds need a big rally to make the comeback and tie it or win it. 4-2. Diaz coming on. More on him in a moment. Most comeback wins in baseball this season. The Nats are right there behind the Angels and the D-backs. So they're 14-7 at home, and 12 of those they have trailed. Here we go.
All right.
Well, he's just 23 years of age. We talked about him last night. Some of the struggles he's had with command this year, but we also saw some stuff last night, FP, that very much impressed us about Edwin Diaz.
Well, you know, down by a couple of runs, you got to make him throw strikes. Fastball 97, slider 87. You know, a guy that's been working on his mechanics, working on his in-game adjustments. You know, a young pitcher, a lot of times when it goes south for you in the middle of a game in the heat of battle, you don't know how to right the ship, but they've been working on mechanics. And we'll see right now.
Rendon, Taylor, and Lobaton to face him for the first time. We could see Adam Lind in this inning.
And sometimes for Diaz in the past, not being in that closer role, you remember how young he is, it gets away from him, so he's learning how to regroup when it does. And then I think Anthony Rendon doing the right thing, taking a strike.
Yeah, flings 97 in there. He has walked 12 in 18 innings to go with 23 strikeouts. 7 saves, blown 2. Rendon 2 for 3 today. Fantastic series. Right by his belt buckle. Ball 2.
You know, you come in these situations as a young closer, it's about having body awareness. Can you repeat your delivery when your pulse is going real quick and the nerves are high? And I think that's been a challenge for Diaz in his young career as a closer.
This one out to left center. They have a new outfield configuration. That's Heredia in left. He went over there from center because they wanted to get the speed of Dyson into center. One out.
Yeah, one big out in Anthony Rendon, the guy they've been having trouble retiring the last 3 days.
Yeah, so Taylor Motter comes into play second. Cano done for the day, and Boog Powell over to left. Or pardon me, right field. Left-handed thrower. And it looks like Lind for Lobaton, so Dusty not going to waste any time. He's got Wieters after that. Pitch up and in, check swing.
You have to be taking the strike all the way there, don't you? Down by 2. Power on deck, a guy that has 3 pinch hit home runs. First 2 not near. Rally lids. Bryce Harper's got hers on.
Time given, 2-2. Taylor left side, one hopper. Kyle Seager. Nats down to their final out. Adam Lind will hit for Lobaton here. And then the other catcher, at least today, Matt Wieters, steps out on deck. So there's Matt. Adam Lind, 500 batter as a pinch hitter this year, 7 for 14. 3 homers, 9 RBIs. First at bat of the series, Lind hit 20 homers, 58 driven in for the Mariners last year. 2-0.
Adam Lind just looks hitterish. Everything he does, every hack he takes, he's on it.
Two-1, and he was tardy for 98.
Toughest job in baseball. Sit around for 3 hours, come up and try to square up 98 miles an hour.
Way inside.
Big pitch coming. Rally, baby. She got ball 4, a base hit in her. Let's see.
Lind. The ball hit him in the foot, so it's foul.
Do it again. I mean, it's all you can ask for if you're Dusty Baker right now. Is get Matt Wieters up there and let him wail at a 98-mile-an-hour fastball and see what happens.
3-2 to Adam Lind. Battle continues.
Good rip.
Big shift on. 3-2 again, and in the middle of the shift, Adam's going to have to hurry. He will beat it out. Motter went as far as he could, and Adam Lind is 8 for 15 as a pinch hitter.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody better in the National League. I mean, what more can you ask from Adam Lind? He goes up there, gets 98, fouls off a couple of pitches, beats the shift, gets an outfield single. And now Matt Wieters gets a chance at it. Rally, baby. She was good for a base hit. She got a tater in her.
Matt Wieters has faced Diaz just once before, so there's a little knowledge here. And he's going to hit a high fly ball out to left center. Playable, Heredia, and the Mariners will salvage a game, and they win a game in Washington, D.C. for the first time ever in interleague play. Nats will win 2 out of 3 and get ready for San Diego tomorrow night. For Dan Colco, NFP Santangelo, Bob Carpenter, the final. Mariners 4, Nats 2. Gio gets a no decision. And the loser will be Turner. The winner will be Miranda Diaz with his 8th save. Tomorrow night, Max Scherzer takes on Luis Perdomo and the Padres. Nats Extra starts at 6:30. This has been a presentation of Masson, Johnny and Ray. Nats Extra straight ahead. And from Nationals Park, so long for just a while.